Annyeong Buzz! Welcome back to the channel where we talk about everything K-pop and beyond, with all the excitement and a sprinkle of fan energy because, let's be honest, we can't help ourselves. Today we have to talk about something huge, and I mean record-breaking huge. Stray Kids just achieved a milestone that puts them on a whole different level in the industry. Their brand new album Karma has officially surpassed 3 million copies sold in its very first week. Yeah, you heard that right. Triple million in just 7 days. That's not just big, that's monumental. Now, let's pause for a second here. 3 million albums in a week is not something you just casually achieve while sipping iced coffee. This is an achievement that puts them in an elite circle. In fact, Karma is the only album this year that has hit the triple million mark within its first week of release. And considering how stacked 2025 has been for K-pop already, that says a lot about Stray Kids' global pull and their fan power. The album itself dropped on the 22nd with a total of 11 tracks, and the title track Ceremony has been leading the charge. But what blew me away is that it didn't just stop at title track success. Almost every track on Karma charted. Like seriously, Bbicheori, Creed, In My Head, Myeongmang, Phoenix, Ghost, and Banjan all found their way into Spotify's top spots. That's basically the entire album being loved across the board. And to be honest, that's not very common. Usually an album has 1 or 2 tracks that dominate while others quietly fade into the background. But Stray Kids, they're showing that their artistry resonates track after track. And let's talk about Spotify for a minute, because the numbers there are insane. Karma didn't just quietly debut, it stormed onto the scene. It reached number 2 on the global top album debut chart, number 5 in the US, and number 3 in the UK. That is seriously no joke. We're talking about Western markets where breaking through is one of the toughest challenges for K-pop groups. On top of that, the title track Ceremony also ranked number 2 globally on the top song debut chart and even hit number 2 in the US. I mean, can we just appreciate how wild that is? Stray Kids are not only leading in K-pop, but genuinely competing on a global music stage. Now here's my personal take. I think Stray Kids has officially crossed that line where they're not a K-pop phenomenon anymore. They're a global phenomenon. When you're charting like this in the US and UK, when your entire album is dominating Spotify, and when you're selling millions of physical albums in just 1 week, that's no longer niche. That's mainstream power. And you know what makes me even more excited? This is still just the beginning of the Karma era. They haven't even started full global promotions yet, and we're already seeing history in the making. But let's not forget the Hanteo and Circle Chart domination too. They topped both the weekly physical album chart and the weekly retail album chart. That's like saying, hey, we didn't just outsell, we completely took over. Plus, selling over 2 million copies on the first day alone? That's mind-blowing. Imagine dropping your album and waking up to see 2 million albums gone just like that. Honestly, I'd be crying in the corner from shock. And I know what some of you might be thinking, but physical album sales are fan-driven. Does it really show global popularity? And my answer is, yes, it absolutely does. But what makes this even more impressive is the balance. They've got both. The strong physical sales, proving how powerful their fandom is, and the streaming dominance proving that casual listeners and even non-fans are tuning in. That combination is exactly why Stray Kids is starting to look unstoppable right now. Here's the part I really want to hear your thoughts on. The official charts in the UK have already predicted that Stray Kids could hit their career high this week, and they've never cracked the top 10 there before. So if Karma actually does break into the top 10, this is going to be a historic moment, not just for them, but for K-pop in general. Because we know the UK charts can be really tough to climb, even for groups that are huge internationally. So what do you think? Can they do it this time? Do you believe Karma has that power to push them into the top 10? Also, I need to ask, what's your favorite track from the album? Because I have to admit, while Ceremony is powerful and has that anthem vibe that makes you want to scream it out in a stadium, I found myself coming back to In My Head way too often. There's something about it that just feels so raw and catchy at the same time. But then again, Bbicheori is also ridiculously addictive. Honestly, I think that's what makes this album so good. You can't pick just one favorite. And speaking of ceremony, here's another record they broke. It became the most played song by a K-pop boy group this year in its first week. Plus, it managed to stay on the daily top song global chart for 6 days straight. That might not sound like a huge number at first, but in the world of global streaming where competition is cutthroat, 6 days is actually massive staying power. It shows that people aren't just checking it out once, they're replaying it over and over. But wait, we're not even done yet. Stray Kids also announced that they're releasing the remix digital single Ceremony Celebrate Remixes on the 29th. And I don't know about you, but I'm already curious how they're going to reimagine that track. Are we getting EDM vibes? Something house-inspired? Or maybe even a stripped-down acoustic remix that lets the vocals shine? Whatever it is, it feels like the perfect way to keep the hype train going. Now here's something I want to throw to you guys. With the kind of success Stray Kids are pulling off right now, do you think they're setting themselves up to be the next group that dominates Western award shows? I'm talking about stuff like the Grammys. I know it's a big leap, but if BTS paved the way and now we're seeing SKZ making these numbers, isn't it kind of possible they're next in line? That's the big question right now. Are Stray Kids gearing up to become the next K-pop act that fully breaks into that award circuit? And honestly, looking at the numbers, the momentum, and the way they're dominating both physically and digitally, I don't think it's far-fetched at all. They've got the sales power, they've got the streaming power, and more importantly, they've got that unique sound that separates them from everyone else. Stray Kids don't sound like anyone else, and that originality might be exactly what pushes them into those award conversations in the near future. But let's zoom out for a second. This triple million record doesn't just impact Stray Kids, it impacts the entire industry. Every time a group achieves something like this, it raises the bar for everyone else. It proves that K-pop albums are not just products, they're events. Fans don't just listen, they experience them, they support them physically, and they push them to the top of global charts. And in turn, it makes the industry stronger and shows the world that this isn't just a trend, it's a movement that's here to stay. Now, I really want to get into your perspective because at the end of the day, this isn't just Stray Kids' victory. It's Stay's victory too. They are the reason 2 million copies flew off the shelves on the first day, and they are the reason those Spotify streams are hitting record highs. So, for all the Stays out there watching, how are you feeling right now? Do you feel like all your support is finally being recognized on the global stage? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like this is the payoff moment you've all been waiting for. Also, let's be honest here. Stray Kids' music isn't always the easiest to digest at first listen. Their sound is experimental, it's loud, it's intense, and sometimes it can feel overwhelming for new listeners. But what makes Karma different is how it balances that signature SKZ energy with tracks that feel more accessible. That's probably why we're seeing casual listeners getting hooked alongside the hardcore fandom. And that's another reason why this album is doing so well. It's not just preaching to the choir, it's bringing in new ears. Now, let's look ahead a little. The remix single is coming, promotions are likely to ramp up, and with all this momentum, the second half of 2025 could end up being Stray Kids' era. If they really do land a top 10 on the UK charts and keep climbing in the US, we might even see them headline bigger festivals, more international tours, and who knows, maybe even those award show nominations we talked about. So here's what I want from you. Drop your predictions in the comments. Where do you think Karma will land on the Billboard 200? Do you think they'll crack the UK top 10 for the very first time? And which track do you think has the best shot at becoming a long-term global hit? Because sometimes it's not the title track that goes viral, it's the B-side. For me, I think Ceremony is obviously the safe bet because of its anthem quality, but something like In My Head or Bbicheori could easily sneak up on people and explode later on TikTok or Reels. And we all know what happens when a Stray Kids track blows up on short-form content. It takes over completely. At the end of the day though, one thing is clear, Stray Kids have leveled up, Karma isn't just another comeback, it's a statement. It's proof that they're not only here to stay, but also here to dominate. And honestly, watching them grow from underdogs to global powerhouses has been such a rewarding journey. If this is the kind of energy they're bringing in 2025, I can only imagine how much bigger they'll be in the next couple of years. All right, Buzz fam, that's all I've got for you today. But now it's your turn. Sound off in the comments. Are you as blown away as I am by these numbers? What's your favorite track from Karma? And where do you think Stray Kids are headed next? Let's get the conversation going, because I know you guys always have the best takes. And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future uploads. We've got a lot more K-pop content coming your way, and you already know we're going to be keeping an eye on Stray Kids as this era unfolds. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and as always, stay buzzing, stay passionate, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, Buzz fam!